Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander. And today we have another episode in our Spoiler Spotlight series in which I talk about, well, spoilers and tell you what my thoughts are on them. But before that, just a quick reminder to please click subscribe if you enjoy these videos. We're getting close to 1,000 subscribers and it means the world to me. Much appreciated. And today we're going to be talking about Ob Nixilis Captive Kingpin. For 2 colorless, 1 black and 1 red, it's a legendary creature demon 4/3 with flying, trample, and whenever one or more opponents each lose exactly 1 life, put a +1/+1 counter on Ob Nixilis Captive Kingpin. Exile the top card of your library. Until your next end step, you may play that card. And I absolutely love this design. It's really cool. I mean, a really unique build around that we haven't quite seen before. We've seen stuff like Torwauki, which cares about non-creature damage, and we've seen stuff like Gerson Star and Kellamorph, which amplifies damage when there's exactly 1 damage being dealt, but we've never seen something like this that actually rewards you in a pretty unique way for dealing 1 damage. Or rather, I should say, for having your opponents lose 1 life. Now, it is worded in a very conservative way. They said 1 or more opponents because they don't want you to absolutely go off with stuff like Impact Tremors, which would otherwise be really brutal by exiling 3 cards from the library and putting 3 +1/+1 counters on him. But even so, this does allow for a lot of shenanigans. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with this. All of those enchantments are going to be really good, so stuff like Impact Tremors is obviously going to be fantastic, even though it's only giving you 1 card and 1 counter each time. That's still insane because you're getting pretty decent card advantage and you are also growing your commander, which means you can just win games out of nowhere with command damage. And since your opponents are probably going to be taking quite a bit of damage with this deck anyway, it's not going to take that much to kill them. On top of that, this is coming in with a decent body to start off with. A 4/3 flying trample for 4 is quite good in the early game and should be able to dominate most early game boards. This synergizes with other cards as well. It's going to work really well with death pingers such as Blood Artist or Zulaport Cutthroat. Those are all going to trigger when a creature dies, so you can actually control that very well and make sure they happen when you need them to, so that you don't end up exiling a bunch of cards when you can't actually play them. And that's also why this is going to be really good in an Aristocrats deck, because also those decks tend to be quite low to the ground, and since you're exiling cards that you can only play until the end of your turn, you want to make sure that you can cast as many of them as possible. One way to do that is by having a very low mana curve deck, which Aristocrats decks tend to have. This is also going to work very well with stuff like pingers. So just like Gerson Star, you want effects that are going to be repeatedly hitting your opponents for 1 damage. But unlike Gerson Star, it doesn't really care who controls the effect, so something like Chandra Awakened Inferno is going to work really nicely here because it's going to give your opponents an emblem each, which deals 1 damage to them. And seeing as that happens on different upkeeps, on each of their separate upkeeps, that's 3 cards every turn cycle and 3 +1/+1 counters, which is really good. And the interesting wording on Ob Nixilis means that if you do it during your opponent's turn, you still get to play the cards until the end of your next end step, which is really nice. Another card that's going to be great is one of my favorite pet cards, which is Obsidian Fireheart. That one is going to put a counter on one of their lands and deal 1 damage to them every upkeep. So again, we're going to get the card during their turn, and if we put counters on multiple lands, we could just have a repeatable source of card advantage and a repeatable way to grow our commander. And even if our commander gets removed, it can come back and those lands are still going to have those burning counters on them, which puts our opponents on a quick clock. So apart from all of this, you obviously want to be playing a lot of 1/1 creatures. Devil tokens in particular seem really good because they're going to deal 1 damage when they die, and we can aim that 1 damage at an opponent because then we can deal an extra damage to them and impulse draw and grow Ob Nixilis. So anyway, the possibilities with this new commander seem endless to me, and I can't wait to try it out for myself. I'll be making a deck list as soon as this set spoils. So there you have it. Those have been my thoughts on this new spoiler. What do you think about this card? Please let me know in the comment section below. I read all comments and respond to all of them too. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel. And until next time, take care. Woo!